after a lovely long hibernation period since November. We're going to have some bad news. Agnes Meadows has just run. I thought she'd be here by now, obviously, who is our co-headlining act today, is ill, so she's not going to be able to get here. Don't know why she didn't let me know earlier, but there you are. We wish her all the best anyway. What I thought we'd do is, normally open mic readers get 2 poems, but if we extend that to 3, we'll fill the time very nicely. And of course, you've got the lovely Max Fishel, who has performed as an open mic reader at DODO on many occasions. We're delighted he's coming to give us an extended set this afternoon. So, big welcome to Max, who is definitely here. Don't let him leave the room, anyone. Now, if you've not been here before, just to let you know a little bit of the basic stuff here, there is a toilet on this level, so if you don't have to go all the way down to the ground floor to fight through the rugby fans to get to the booth. We're having open mic poets in each half, and then the featured poets will follow, and then obviously we'll finish, aiming to finish about 5. Obviously, Max, if you want to do a bit longer, if you've got a few extra poems, maybe take it up to half hour total rather than 20 minutes if you have that. If not, we're looking forward to hearing you anyway. The other thing is, if you haven't been here before, this room it's got a wonderful history. This is where back in the 1960s, there used to be a folk event here every week, which was run by Martin McCarthy, of course, legendary folk musician. And one day, a young American guy turned up, and Martin McCarthy thought he recognised him, and it was in fact Bob Dylan. And he said, "Would you like to do a couple of things, an open mic spot, Bob?" And Bob said, like a lot of people do, "Well, you know, I just come to listen this time." Come the second half, of course, Bob couldn't resist joining in, so he did 3 songs. We know that one of them was Blowing in the Wind, which he'd just written. A couple more, I don't think a record exists of what they were, but guesses I'm sure there are plenty on the webosphere, because obviously it's a hot topic more than nearly 60 years on. So we're going to start with some open mic poets, but also just to say that this lovely pub doesn't charge us to use the room, but what they do ask us to do every time we're here is to wrap it up Macmillan's Nurses. So if you've got some spare change, please do that. The other announcement is that we've got some books on sale, but one of our audience members this afternoon is Trevor Eales, who was married to Aronwy Thomas, who's the daughter of Dylan Thomas. In fact, it's possible Dylan Thomas himself hung out in this pub at some point, because he was a fan of drinking in Fitzrovia. But Trevor has brought along some copies of Christmas and Other Memories by Aronwy, and these are copies which are free, so if you want to take one, there's a good tranche of them sitting up here next to the book, so please help yourself. So that's it. So I'm going to kick off. I'm Patric Cunnane, and take some swig of vodka first in traditional fashion. Okay, here's an example of great British design. This is the wrapper for the Fry's chocolate cream bar, and I was looking this up on Wikipedia the other day, and I discovered that it's the first mass-produced chocolate bar, produced first in 1866 by J. Fry in Bristol, so that's nearly more than 150 years ago. And I was reminded of this because I was in a shop recently and I came across Fry's chocolate cream, so I bought one, and I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they're just as scrummy as ever. Okay? And I was reminded of my brother-in-law, who once gave his sister for her birthday a bar of Fry's chocolate cream. Nothing else, just that. So here's the poem. Chocolate cream. For her birthday, he gave his sister Fry's chocolate cream, a taste of childhood wrapped in blue and silver foil. 5 bites, treats for several mice or one hungry woman. Why didn't you wrap it, she said. It's already wrapped, he said. It was the last one in the shop. It may have been the last one in the world, she thought, believing Fry's chocolate cream had its day before her childhood ended. Most presents fade from memory, but she would never forget her brother giving her Fry's chocolate cream for her birthday. It was an unusual present, if you could call it a present, and she didn't, as she'd once received a diamond necklace, a trotting unicorn, and high tea in a castle from an imaginary prince who had the grace to love her and not be pushy. The tea included many treats, sweet and otherwise, none of it made by workers in white coats and hairnets. Imaginary princes had style. You keep your chocolate cream, she told her brother. Fry it for all I care. I'm just going to do one more before we move into the rest of the show. This is from my latest collection, The Ghost of Franz Kafka. Copies are available over here. And this is a poem about a Cuban artist called Ana Mendieta. Ana Mendieta was born in Cuba, and when the revolution took place, she was sent to America, and she didn't return to Cuba for 20 years. And it was when she came back to Cuba as a young adult, she realized that this was the place where her real career as an artist was going to start. She found what she really wanted to say. And she died in the 1980s, but Ana Mendieta's work is still revered. She made many films as well as sculptures and other art forms. This is a program for an event at Tate Modern which took place not long ago of her films, and you can find them on YouTube as well. So this is Ana Mendieta's poem. It's called Longing for Cuba. Home after 20 years, the artist fills her heart and art with natural materials, carves sculptures into limestone caves in Yuruco National Park, reactivates Taino goddesses, rescues the black Siboney Venus from an abandoned colonial grave. How the heart longs for homeland, misses the nurture of childhood years, spirited to America at 13, from the flame of revolutionary Cuba into the maw of its bullying neighbor. The artist writes in a poem, my whole being is filled with want of Cuba. Who can blame her? The teenage hurt of being wrenched from home for the sake of nameless fears. She seizes the moment, returns again and again, loves the crocodile-shaped island, bonds with its artists, reclaims her birthright. She writes in that same poem, the art of thinking is to see ideas grow from root to fruit. The island embraces her energy. She offers it the fire of her youth. I'm going to announce some open mic poets now. Hopefully none of them will have crept quietly out of the room while I've been reading. Please could we first of all welcome Mr. Frank Crocker.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, seems to be enough natural light coming in. Bit late. It's still February just, so this is my Valentine poem. I'm rubbish at love. If love were a dance, I'd make all the wrong move, or a chance remark of which you wouldn't approve. If my love were a lift, I'd be on all the wrong floors. If my love were a performer, I'd get no applause. If my love were a ruler, I wouldn't be straight. If my love were a food, I'd be left on the side of your plate. I'm rubbish at love. If my love were a custard pie, it would be shoved in my face. If love were a jog, I wouldn't keep up the pace. I'm rubbish at love. If my love were a comic, no one would laugh. If my love were a business, I'd upset all the staff. If my love were a trifle, I'd be the one with no sherry. If my love were a position, it would be missionary. I'm rubbish at love. If my love were a piano, only the white notes would play. If my love were a pooch, I'd be the one that would stray. I'm rubbish at love. I lack the technique. If my love were a toy, I'd be the one that would squeak. If my love were an exam, I'd fail the test. Buggering it all up is what I do best. I'm rubbish at love. I just don't have that je ne sais quoi, that joie la vie. The romantic gene's been avoiding me. I'm rubbish at love, and I can show you the proof. I'm a non-starter, a Herbert, and that's the absolute truth. I'm rubbish at love. I'm a dunce and a failure. In days gone by, I'd have been shipped to Australia. I'm rubbish at love. I just can't get it right. I think it's about time I gave up the fight. This is bound to go wrong. Please bear with me. Put words to a tune that was originally by Gilbert O'Sullivan, and I've got my piano accompaniment here. Please. Beryl the Peril and Larry the Lamb, Little Plum and Desperate Dan, Muffin the Mule and Ollie Beak, Bill and Ben and Archie Andrews, Hancock beyond our ken, when girls were girls and men were men. I didn't know what irony was. I was unsophisticated. There was soot and there was smog. We'd never heard the word organic. I grazed my knees when I fell from trees, before verses were satanic. But I was always kissed goodnight, told the bedbugs wouldn't bite, alone with my memories. I was hugged and held so tight, never had a hungry night. My mother sang as she did her chores. The world was technicolor bright. Sunday roast with bubble and squeak, pretty much for the rest of the week. Green peppers, celeriac and aubergine just hadn't been invented. There was black and white TV and the Billy Cotton banjo and those dreadful old films with George Formby in. Oh, those teeth and that old banjo. I was always kissed goodnight, told the bedbugs wouldn't bite, alone with my memories. It seems to me this world is wired up. Everything is there, just for the taking. Yet hearts are breaking. What do we do? What can we do? My dad had won the war with Richard Todd and Kenneth Moore. Macmillan said we'd never had it so good, and I was ready to believe him. Didn't know what cynical meant. Was it something you gave up for Lent? We had no copy and pasting and hours of time wasting, fathoming out our computers. So what have we become? Are we contented? Are we knowing? for all that we have gained in life. It's good that we are knowing that in our hour of need we will truly be indeed alone with our memories. Alone with our memories. Alone with our memories.
Thank you very much, Frank Crocker. Coolest cabaret in town.
The pianist is very small.
The extra light on at the back, because it will start getting a bit premium.
You should do a Sonne Lumiere performance.
Fuse a lot, please.
Oh God.
Can I switch it on? He's still there. Alright. It's obviously a day with not everything, not every detail.
It's going well.
Okay, moving on with the open mic section. Please welcome John Sephton.
Right, well that's a very hard act to follow, so this is a modest presentation. However, there is a musical theme to this. The poem that I'm going to read is based on a song. The song is After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. I guess a lot of you know that. For those of you who don't know it, it's a song about the earth being so polluted and damaged by war that the only escape is to leave the earth altogether. So I thought I would read the last verse of the song first and then read the poem. So this is After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships lying in the yellow haze of the sun. There were children crying and colours flying all around the chosen ones. All in a dream, all in a dream, the loading had begun. Flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. Okay, so the poem is called Red Moon, and it's quite short. Okay, so this is the poem. A red moon rises in a purple haze. Strange stars ignite the sky. Sweet rain falls on virgin soil. Fresh winds warm the fertile plains. The rocket ships are silent now. Human seed has landed. Far away lies Mother Earth, a broken, barren world, a dying planet in the dark, a teardrop in the void. That's it. Did you want another one?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay, right, so just one more poem. This has also got a musical theme. It's trying to describe the San Francisco sound as it emerged in the mid-60s. So the bands like the Jefferson Airplane, the Doors from LA, Seals and Crofts. In England we had Pink Floyd. So the poem is called Mojo Rising. Long hair flowing in the soft summer breeze. Airplanes in early flight across the bay. lemon pipers playing at the gates of dawn. Something happening, stirring the soul, mojo rising in the air, patchouli in the wind, jasmine in the mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And our next open mic poet is actually going to be one of our featured poets next month, Christine Eales, who is a specialist in haiku. So she's going to give you a little foretaste of what you're going to be hearing more of in our March show. But please welcome Christine Eales.
Thank you. As we all know, haiku are very, very short, so I'm going to read them in a traditional way, twice. Once for the head, once for the heart. And you should really have a bell as well to add the zeno, but we're not having that bit. My cobweb, so many faces I do not know. My cobweb, so many faces I do not know. Lily pond, she reaches out her hand for the frog. Lily pond, she reaches out her hand for the frog. My family tree, which bird am I? My family tree, which bird am I? That huge fur hat, the bear bumbles after her. That huge fur hat, the bear bumbles after her. Then something cheerful at the end. Obviously inspired by Constable. In the field, horses drinking water from a rainbow. In the field, horses drinking water from a rainbow. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine, and we really do look forward to hearing more from you in the March show. Great. So somebody who is new to DODO, so I'd like to welcome somebody who is going to be reading here, I believe, for the first time, Barry Croyden.
Yes, it's quite an experience reading for the first time, a new group. I normally read about death. This is slightly more light-hearted. Got two poems. 17 ways to save the planet. In winter, don't use any form of oil, gas, wood, nuclear heating. Instead, strap a pet to your chest and back. You'll be amazed how warm they are. Should your pet object, dig out that 70s Afghan coat kept in the cellar. In summer, remain perfectly still. Paint yours and your neighbours' houses white. Dig up off-street parking. Plant trees and crush all cars. Offer government grants to roller skates and pogo sticks, turning all journeys into fun and carbon neutral. All partnerships to be made up of a warm and a cold-blooded person, the resulting temperature gradient generating electricity. Build mega glowworm breeding nurseries and replace all domestic lighting by bioluminescence. Anyone with a fever to be attached to a piezoelectric device, they're shivering, providing enough current to run a life support machine. Make it compulsory for companies to install treadmills in all offices. Each employee required to do at least 5 minutes an hour on the machine, delivering kilowatts to run the office and keeping employees trim and fit. All social media and cloud computing to be banned. Data farms are profligate power-wise. Move the Earth further away from the sun. Realign the moon so it produces a total eclipse once a month to last all day. Erect a global umbrella to shade out the sun. In extremis, decamp to Mars. The second one is similarly light note. Heaven. We strict entry criteria here. I don't think Gabriel giving you an easy ride. You can cite extenuating circumstances, but he's heard it all before. He's dealt with some pretty dubious characters in his time. There was Luther, who annoyed everyone by nailing his demands to heaven's gates. Billy Graham with a handful wasn't here a week before he was holding crusade meetings and calling all sinners to repent. Here. We've introduced cloud computing recently, a joint contract with old Nick. Quite a few teething problems migrating from the old Parkman-based records. Took an age to sort out Moses' accidental descent into hell. The old patriarch wasn't happy. As for the 3,000 demons inadvertently placed at the boss's right hand, a few wings were clipped, I can tell you. That experience made the old man weary. We recently installed soul recognition cameras, and the upgraded heat-sensitive scanners are a real success. Quite a queue when all that was introduced. Purgatory's early release scheme didn't help. Anyway, I suspect you'd like to have a word with one of the guardian angels. They're the ones in smart uniforms, looking stern but serene. Shall I do one more? This is a serious poem, if I can get to it. Ah, yes. The Isle of Sheppey. I didn't intend to catch you that morning with your pants down. We both laughed out loud. It got me thinking why I loved you so. You're an island full to the brim. Sheppey in the 50s with day trippers from the East End. The sea batters your shoreline, washes away the sandy beaches, leaving shingle and tar. Yet you are more gorgeous, aged with rivulets and gullies, and your heartland scorched, yet surprisingly green. I tie up alongside your harbour wall, secured by the love warps you throw me. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very welcome debut at DODO. Thank you for that. So we have, going to try offering the next slot to Lorraine Sachs.
I haven't read here, but I have inflicted other people elsewhere. This I wrote pretty quickly, and I suppose it's always catharsis for people writing poems. And I'm still wedged in the 1940s, I think, and this is when I was at school there. And it's called Macfarlane and Nithsdale. If your bloodline was Latvian, Lithuanian, from the Ukraine, or that of a Pole, on the whole, it was pretty plain. You knew you'd remain on the private, independent girls' school's registered roll, honoured like a square peg rammed deep in a round hole. Nevertheless, you were moved by the Scottish impact. All around, the ambience was tartan-related. You coveted a kilt, and with envy were racked. We were well-dressed Stuarts and MacLeod's skirts, all radiated. On the sight of the smooth velvet Balmoral bonnet, with some poor dead grouse's feathers stuck on it, and the mesmerising, melodious, moaning bagpipes in contrast with the synagogue chauffeur's tequila cochlear piercing blast. But the object de désir was to own a clan name, and Macfarlane Nithsdale is what you crave to claim. They have one ancient check pattern, bright blue, green and red, and a camouflage mute version for a game shoot instead. Oh, courageous, outrageous Macfarlane Nithsdale, whoever you challenge will turn pale and quail. Cantankerous, capricious, ingenious are you, always cheered for the length of the discus you threw. De rigueur, it was true, to tip the light fantastic, with intricate steps, nothing too bombastic. Unlike the horror arms linked stomping round, the sword dance demands jetés high above ground. You're exhilarated, joyous, you feel liberated, till you notice a few surplus toes amputated. The teachers had warned it's most likely you might have an invite to reel at the hunt ball all night. But a rumour you heard was a sense of romance, was a sense of romance, more poignant at the point-to-point dance. All you had to do was search for a sash, which is compulsory for each classy bash. It wasn't that hard to find a few yards of tassel fringe, black and white striped fabric, and given a throw around your torso, the prayer shawl you donned was no less than chic. But you weren't really part of a unique Highland clique, and you couldn't wear the black watch. So to convince the crowd you were no churlish freak, The old Moscovich Tullers was renamed Moscovoch. So, this is a pantoum, and you might fall asleep in the middle. Do you know what a pantoum is? The second line becomes the first line, blah, blah, blah. And this is called Love at First Sight. You might know what a cassowary is. It is a bird. Anyhow, it's called Love at First Sight. Some species never find love at first sight. They accept, adapt, stay modest and shy. They know vis-a-vis they'll pay a fight, this sensitive breed who wish they could fly. They accept, adapt, they're modest and shy. Generous frugivores, meek and piteous, this sensitive breed who wish they could fly. They're pure inside, but they look hideous. Generous frugivores, meek and piteous, with eyesight and hearing quite consummate. They're pure inside, but they look hideous, 2 meters tall and creatures of such weird gait. With eyesight and hearing quite consummate, beware, don't disturb this visual nightmare. 2 meters tall creatures such weird gait, best left alone, they're protective and rare. Beware, don't disturb this visual nightmare. They're charged with reviving near extinct trees. Best left alone, they're protected and rare. Let the cassowaries do as they please. They're charged with reviving near extinct trees. They know vis-a-vis they'll give you a fright. Let the cassowaries do as they please. Some species never find love at first sight.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. Another fine DODO debut there. Lovely to hear you. We're going to have one more open mic poet, and then we'll have the first set from our featured poet this afternoon. So we'll end the first section of open mic poets with somebody who's also reading here next month, part of a lineup of three women. It's coincidental, but also slightly deliberate. Of course, it's International Women's Day on March the 8th, so we have an all-female lineup on March 26th, which is the date of our show. So please welcome a taster from Sue Johns, who's on next month.
Most of the poems in this pamphlet are about prostitutes, but I'm going to do one that isn't, and it's called Domestic. Having decided to make love in our galley kitchen, we realise not every dish has to start with garlic and onions. The stove is out of bounds, harbouring our nourishment, contained in something heavy, foreign, built to outlast us. Do you see, through the porch window, the bulbs that have survived the frost as you issue over the recycling? Watch me ape along the Edwardian door handles until you find the place like the natural break in asparagus. You wipe clean the perspex bar stool as I rest in the adjoining room. It had offered us soft furnishing, a comfortable landing. We are spent and have saved the upholstery. I've got quite a long sequence of poems that's all inspired by trains. Hopefully it'll be coming out as a pamphlet. And there's quite a few of them that are about the first trains in the UK and the Industrial Revolution and the impact that had on people. And in the case of this poem, agricultural workers at the time, and this is called Flight. Flight 1. I was a cuckoo child, left by a consumptive widow on the wing. My nest a tied cottage that already housed a pair of weaving daughters. But a boy does not need looks to marry, and I had a body that could work the land and survive a journey on a train, though I'd yet to sea run. The estate will not be cleaved, sheep blackened or hunting routes halted by clattering iron. Cheshire's old money bellows from the library. Safe with our cows and cabbages, we did not fear machinery until a mutation came. tested our steepest gradients, and sang, like thrushes, their chorus of steam. The power that could smash the slow way we moved within our shells and pull us wriggling from the soil. The young lord, schooled only in gambling and buggery, enters politics, and his family raise a toast to the railways and their generous compensation. 2. I am cursed by my past complaints. Milking at first light, the inadequate plough, poaching in the dank woods. There is an uncommon mourning for what was never your own. Inside the mills of Manchester, we call the countryside. The overseers, like crows, have a memory for faces. They recognise our youngest, not from her missing fingers, but by the look she wears, since they came as a murder to cut off her hair. 3. As the first locomotive pulls into Liverpool Road, behind the blanket that divides our damp basement, my sisters are dreaming of screech owls. So yeah, I'll just do one more. I'm experimenting with sonnets at the moment, doing weird things with sonnets. And this is inspired by my local betting shop, and it's called Safe Bet. And it's actually not very funny, but anyway. Safe Bet. Bloke says cash point's empty, must be Bob. I ask if Bob's in the bookies, as he's my dad. Bloke comes back, says Bob says he don't know you. Then I do though, I grew up with your mother. Bob always said he didn't know her either. Bloke goes in, another comes out and says, Bob says, do you have any cigarettes? I tell him no. He says, so what do you do? I tell him I'm at college doing childcare. He farts, apologises. I hear a cheer. First bloke reappears, says, lucky lady. Rent money came in first, your old man won. Bob says to give you 20 for the baby. Did you keep it? No. He swaps it for a 10. Thank you.
Just thinking the auditorium. Is there a spare seat in the back?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sue Johns, and you'll be hearing much more from Sue on the 26th of March when we reconvene next month. Okay, so we're going to welcome